Today, Miss Jones and I are cooking together. We are your guest chefs. And since we're the experts, we're going to be the ones to show you how to make some buttermilk pancakes.
Woo!
Yeah, they're going to be good. And I love breakfast food. Do you love breakfast foods?
Yes, especially if it's sweet, so I'm excited.
Yeah, sweets are like so good. And sometimes you have to balance that out with like maybe like some fruit or something so you don't get too much sugar.
Throw in
But
some eggs.
yeah, throw in some eggs, some
Little
sausage,
protein.
maybe some bacon or something
Yeah.
like that, you know, if that's the type of thing that you like to eat. So, but today we're going to show you a way to make the most delicious buttermilk pancakes. So we have a recipe, and yes, she's really into these. All right, so we have our recipe, and I'm going to call out the ingredients. Would you check it and make sure we have them, Miss Jones?
Will do.
We need some flour.
Here.
Good. We've got some sugar.
Sugar.
We need some baking powder.
Yes, it's this one.
That's baking soda.
Oh!
Baking powder. And then we need some baking soda.
I know how to teach. Do I know how to bake? Yes, I do. I went to school for this.
It's confusing. Guys, they're both leavening agents, actually. Baking powder and baking soda, they both work together.
Very different, though. Very different.
They are very different, but they work together in this recipe to make those pancakes light and fluffy. It depends on, so I know that one of them is a base and one of them is an acid. Is that right?
Yes.
Which one's which? I don't remember.
I don't either.
One of them's a base and one is an acid, and
Go search it up.
yeah, I think the base reacts with the acid of sugar.
I want to say this one, where this one is the baking soda. I'm pretty sure this is the base, from what I remember.
I think you're right. Yeah. So anyway, they're going to react with the acids in the recipe to activate. And actually, isn't one of them? No, that's yeast. I'm thinking heat activated versus
Yeah, that's yeast.
reaction time. Anyway. So we'll talk about this more. But so we also need an egg. We have an egg. We need some vegetable oil.
Vegetable oil here.
And our key ingredient, buttermilk. What is buttermilk?
Basically, milk that has a little bit of vinegar in it.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, like the name sounds. It's not like a creamy kind of butter substitute. And actually, originally, the real buttermilk was a residual liquid that was left over in the churns when they would churn butter back in the old days. Nowadays, they actually culture it much like they do yogurt. So they put yogurt cultures, I think, in there, right?
Some of them do,
Something,
yeah. You can actually make butter in a food processor. You can have the buttermilk when you make it in a food processor. All you have to do is whip heavy cream in a food processor for about 2 minutes. And then you will see, if you do that, you will see the buttermilk solids left over with it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that before.
There's a tip. Throw some heavy cream in a food processor, see what happens.
You know, we talked about heavy cream in a recipe last week when we were talking about kitchen math, and we talked about buying, if you had like 1.5 cups of heavy cream for a recipe and you bought a pint, you'd have a 1/2 cup left over. That'd be a great thing to do with the leftover.
There you go.
Would you add a little salt to it, maybe?
Yeah, I would add salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, you could make, so I love to make what's called compound butters too, where you add different ingredients into your butters. So say you made a nice loaf of bread, you know, you're one of those people who made all this bread during quarantine, and you want a nice type of butter with your bread. You can add garlic in there, you can add sun-dried tomatoes, you can add herbs.
Honey?
You could add honey, garlic, bread, or butter. Yeah, so many different things.
I made some bread.
That's right.
And I ate it.
That's right.
And now I need to stop eating the bread. and I need to work out.
We
I
can do
gained the
this.
COVID-19. Anyway, it's all good eating.
Sounds
Something to
right.
do.
That's
So.
right.
Okay, so we're gonna make pancakes today, and the nice thing about these pancakes is the buttermilk gives them a very rich flavor and texture. And if you've ever gone to a restaurant and you've ordered buttermilk pancakes and you're like, oh my god, these are so much better than the box. Yeah, because of all the yummy ingredients. And the box has a lot of preservatives in it, so that when you just mix in the milk and the egg or whatever, that dry mix can last a very long time. Apparently some rain's coming. It can last a really long time on the shelf. So we're not going to do that. We're going to try to eat au natural, okay? And so we're going to make these
Au natural.
au natural, just like me,
That's
with all my makeup. All right, let's go ahead and get measuring. Do you want to do wet ingredients and I'll do dry, or do you want to do dry and I'll do wet? Oh, we should wash our hands. Yes. All right, so we're going to wash our hands. And while we're doing that, Ms. Jones, what would you like to mix? Would you like to do the dry ingredients, or would you like to do the wet ingredients?
I can do dry.
Teamwork makes the dream work, guys.
That's right.
So, okay, you're going to do
I'll do dry.
dry. Okay, I'll do the wet. All right. Paper towel.
So she's got everything for us here.
She have all the tools there. All right, so the first thing our recipe tells us to do is to preheat our electric griddle, guys. So if you don't have a griddle at home, you may absolutely do this in a fry pan on your stove. This is a great way to make a lot of them all at once. In a fry pan on your stove, you're probably only going to get maybe one or two in that pan at a time. And you will need to, if it's not a nonstick pan, you will need to put a little Crisco down or some cooking spray to grease it so that your pancakes don't stick, okay? All right, so I'm going to, first, whenever you plug in a griddle, don't plug in to the wall and then into the griddle, because this tip starts to heat up right away. You don't want to burn your hands. So always put the plug in first, and then you're going to set your temperature to about 350 degrees, and then you're going to plug it in. And you want that nice and hot so that when your cakes go on here, your pancakes go on here, the bottom sides instantly start cooking, okay? And then you'll get the fluff with the pancake and everything. All right, so I've done that. Measure flour and put it in a large mixing bowl. The flour is 1 cup. I'm sorry. Didn't have all my utensils ready. Sometimes your brain's not all there.
Yeah, it's, we're giving everyone grace.
That's right. Everyone gets grace. Even us.
Even us.
Even us. All right. So flour and then sugar. We're going to add the sugar. The nice thing about these pancakes too is you don't have to eat them all at once. So if you make a whole batch and you just want to have a couple right now and save the rest for later, you can put them in a Ziploc freezer bag, put them in the freezer, and then whenever you want to have pancakes, you can just microwave them for a minute or so, and they're really good. All right, so we got the sugar in there, and then we're going to add the baking powder and add that. And the baking powder we need is 1 teaspoon. Sorry guys, forgot to mention it was 2 tablespoons of sugar. All right, and then we're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Don't confuse your baking soda and your baking powder. They do 2 different things, and if you have too much of one and too little of the other, in other words, if you flip them, they're not gonna come out the way you hoped, okay?
I had a little chunk.
Yeah. And then it says 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Alright, and that's my last one.
And that's your last one. Now it's my turn. All right.
Dry ingredients done!
She whipped through that, didn't she? You were like, like
Let's
Gordon
go.
Ramsay.
That's right.
We're on a time constraint here. All right, now I'm gonna need 1 cup of the buttermilk. This was the smallest size that they had at the grocery store, wasn't it?
That was a giant. I've seen smaller sizes, but you know.
So guys, I'm just gonna, because I saw some water sitting on the top of this from just sitting in the case for a long period of time. So if you get buttermilk and you open it up, there's like a watery, kind of liquidy looking, not milky, like water at the top. Just put the lid back on and shake it up a little bit. Okay, mix it up. Because a lot of that cultured fat stuff is going to be at the bottom. So you're going to mix it up. All right, so this I need, 1 cup, and I'm going to measure it in my liquid measuring cup on a flat surface. I'll move this out of the way. That is getting very hot. All right, I'm going to get down to eye level. And this is a lot thicker than regular milk. Not a lot thicker, just definitely noticeable. All right, that's 1 cup of the buttermilk. I'm going to pour this into our mixing bowl here. And then I need 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. It's a brand new vegetable oil here. I'm going to measure this over my liquid measuring cup in case I spill any, which I did. And very gently. Then, you know what, guys? You can always do this. You grab your cup and take it over with you so you don't drip it all over your counter.
Smart.
No, sometimes I really am very smart. Not all the time. But sometimes. Okay. And then I'm going to put, and by the way, buttermilk does not smell delicious. It smells a little sour. So it doesn't mean the milk is bad. It means that it's just right. But if you don't have buttermilk, can we do a buttermilk substitute?
You can. I can't remember the exact ratio, but yes, it's about a cup of milk to.
Like lemon juice or something?
You can do lemon, yeah, and then you just add. I think it's a teaspoon. I can't remember. I would look it up. And we can probably tell you.
Yeah, I think we can look it up when we're done doing this. We'll look it up.
Yeah.
But if you don't have buttermilk, you don't have to go out and buy it. We'll show you a way you can substitute it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So I got my egg in my custard dish. Plop that in there. And then I'm going to take my whisk. Tell you what, this is some whiskey business here. That's hot.
I smelled it.
Awful whiskey. I wouldn't whisk moving the griddle
Keep
around
going,
too
keep
much.
going,
I know,
keep
I'm losing it. All right, guys. So I am mixing this till it comes to like almost like a yellowish color here. It's going to be a light yellow. It's not going to be a dark yellow. Not like an egg if you just whisk the egg, okay? And when you whisk, you're only using your wrist. You're not stirring. I know that I did this with the pumpkin muffins. I did a stirring motion with the whisk. We're just whisking. Just the wrist is moving, okay? All right, and then it says, I'm going to pour this in to our dry mixture here and stir it. I know I just ate lunch, but it's really good. Once you pour it into the mixture with the sugar in there, that's when you get that sweet smell. And this recipe says to stir it with a wooden spoon. Oh, I was supposed to make a well. You're supposed to make a well in the dry ingredients first and then, but you know, it's all going the same place. It'll be all right. There are going to be some lumps in here. You don't want to break them up a lot. You just want to mix this really well. You're going to have some small lumps. With your wooden spoon, you're going to mix it all up. And here comes the fun part. We're going to pour these by a scant quarter cup. Scant, that word means barely. So not quite a full quarter cup, okay? Scant quarter cup.
Now what if I want chocolate chips in my pancake?
Ooh. you want chocolate chips, you can eat that chocolate. Yeah.
Yes. Guys.
You can take home the chocolate chip ones because I like them plain.
Oh! Come on, Miss Hanson. Oh.
Should we mix them in the batter? Or should we do something else?
My personal favorite is if you put them on top of each one. So.
Okay. All right. So we
really
would
equally distribute.
Yeah, and the other reason is if I put them in with the batter, the chocolate might burn.
Yeah, and sometimes you just get these big chunks of chocolate.
Yeah.
You know, one Pancakes gets tons of chocolate.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
that would be horrible.
I like to equally distribute because, you know, if one bite has a ton of chocolate and one bite does not have chocolate, that's not okay.
Here is, boys and girls, a scant quarter cup. It is not quite full, as you can see. All right, so we're going to put these on the griddle. I'm laughing at my own. I'll show them now that you've laughed. You want to add chocolate chips to yours?
Oh, yes.
So guys, when you put the chocolate chips on, do it once you've poured the batter on, almost immediately. You want to throw them in there because it gives them time to sink a little bit, and then the batter to get up high enough around the chocolate chips that when you flip it, you won't burn the chocolate on the other side too. And I should be able to get 8. It's going to be a little sketchy. Nice. That's good chip placement, Miss Jones.
Thank you. Practice.
All right, guys. So while we are waiting for those to fluff up, we have to figure out when we're going to flip them. Let me get my spatula. ¿Dónde está mi spatula?
No sé.
No sé? Now we're going to teach them Spanish.
As I tell my students, welcome to this subject is all of the subjects combined.
Since we don't live here, things kind of like are not where they're supposed to be.
Yes.
I'm going to go in the pantry and look. And meanwhile, you want to tell them like how you know when to flip?
So when you know when to flip, because you'll see these bubbles start to form on the top of your pancake. And that's how you know they're ready to flip. You want to make sure that your pan isn't too hot either. Medium low heat, because if it's too high, then they'll burn too quickly and the middles won't set. And you could have it bubbling, but it's not completely finished in the middle. So make sure that you have the medium low heat if you're not using the griddle. Even if you're using the griddle, you want it about that high, because you don't want that to be a black pancake. So
they're looking good. They smell really good too.
They really do.
The other thing you can look for, guys, is you get these little bubbles, and I'll grab the camera and show you guys. But you also are, just take this, bear with me because it's going to get shaky, guys. I'm lifting you up off the tripod. All right, so if you look at these, right, the edges are kind of dry. And then you'll see those bubbles? That tells you that it's just about time to flip. So let's go ahead and flip those puppies over and see how they look. Ooh, beautiful. Those are golden. Yum. And you know what, guys? You can't tell when you flip them which ones are chocolate chip and which ones are plain. So if you don't like chocolate chips, or if you want chocolate chips, just remember which ones had which in them if you make both. Or you can make a whole set the same. Now notice when Miss Jones flipped them over, she did not take her spatula and push down on them. Why did you not do that?
Push down on the top?
Yeah.
Well, because that's the raw part. So you don't want to push down on the top. you want to scoop underneath the bottom because that's where it's dry.
Right.
And then you can get it off the bottom and then flip it over.
I think another reason why you don't want to take your spatula, guys, this is what I see a lot of students do. And I'm always like, what are you doing? When you flip them and they start to cook on the underside, they puff up a little bit and they're light and really fluffy. If you take this spatula and you smash down on it,
oh, I see right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
It's going to be dense. Yeah, it's going to be dense and they're going to be chewy. There is no pancake that is good that is chewy.
No.
So I know that the video that I showed my students the other day had a thing on how to make homemade maple syrup. We are not doing that here. You guys, if you want to do that, you can look up a recipe for it. It's not that hard to do. But we are just going to serve these with regular old pancake syrup. So. And these look like they're just about done. You can see the bottoms are kind of brown too, and the edges are dry, really, really dry. So we're going to put these on a plate. Fancy plates for fancy people. All right, so if I remember correctly, these 4 are plain and these 4 have chocolate chips.
Correct.
I'm going to take the chocolate chip ones here. And I'm going to spread them out.
Pancakes on your fancy plate.
That made no sense. Miss Jones is not going to quit her day job. She is going to remain a teacher. We don't usually sing, and well, sometimes we do. By the 5th time we do a demo, we're usually pretty punchy. Would you agree?
Oh yes.
We will sing.
Oh,
we will
yes.
make up songs.
Don't worry. My students have already told me, just don't stop singing. We don't like to hear you.
My family tells me that
Sorry,
all the time.
guys, if you're watching this and you are my student.
My dog actually howls when I sing. That's pretty bad.
That's the best.
That's pretty bad when your dog goes, I'm like, oh. I told my husband, I go, oh, he's singing along with me. And my husband goes, no, he's really not. No. He is not enjoying your singing at all. So, I think I'm going to get 3 more pancakes out of this.
Sweet.
And, you know what, guys? In contrast with the cookies that we've made, they don't all have to be the same size. You can actually make some pancakes bigger and some pancakes smaller because the way these cook, she was digging right in.
Sorry.
Good. I can't wait. You want syrup? I have syrup.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I want some.
So contrary to the cookies, guys, that we made, these spread out and the surface underneath, all of the surface is the same temperature. So no matter how big they get, they're all going to cook about the same. As a matter of fact, these are starting to bubble up nicely. Please tell me how they taste. Tell them how it tastes. Apparently pretty good. There's nothing like breakfast for dinner. That's the other thing, guys. You can make these. They don't have to be a breakfast food. You can make these for dinner. Your whole family will enjoy these immensely.
Again, just throw some eggs and bacon on there and call it a dinner.
There is no rule that breakfast foods must be eaten for breakfast all the time, right? So, all right. So, lastly, I know that some students say the reason they don't eat breakfast when they're going to school, to the building, if you're coming here, that you don't have time for breakfast. This is one of those things, like I said in the beginning, that you can make these the whole batch ahead of time. You can double the recipe, make double the amount, put them in Ziploc bags, throw them in the freezer, and when you want to have breakfast, all you have to do is put them on your plate from freezer to microwave, 1 minute. Syrup? Who can, I mean, how
So easy.
It's so easy. How could
So
you
easy.
not make breakfast in a minute?
You can even put, if you have a toaster, put them in the toaster.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So easy.
You're just warming them, really. So
You're just warming them up. They're already cooked. Super easy.
I'm going to finish cooking these up, and then we're going to put these in the freezer for us to eat later. Who knows? I mean, maybe we'll be back soon. Maybe we can keep them here and eat them. I don't think we're going to keep them here and eat them because I want to take them home and eat them.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
They're not going to last.
No. Yeah. We'll see if they make it home.
Yeah, maybe not. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed this demo and enjoy making your pancakes.
Bye, guys.
Bye. This is fun.